Chapter 16, Armageddon. Despite the sword, the fire, the cross, the wild beasts, the torture, these surely are but trifling sufferings to obtain a celestial glory and a divine reward. Tertullian ad Martyras. The, quote, day of the Lord, end quote, is to be a time of the greatest possible calamity. Isaiah cried, quote, wail, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It will come as destruction from the Almighty. Therefore all hands will be limp, every man's heart will melt. Behold, the day of the Lord comes, cruel, with both wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he will destroy its sinners from it, end quote. Isaiah chapter 13, verses 6, 7, and 9. Zechariah is more specific. There will be a great conflict between Jerusalem and other nations, which will be fought in the valley of Megiddo. This area near Jerusalem is known fearfully as Armageddon. Quote, it shall be in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. In that day there shall be a great mourning in Jerusalem, like the mourning at Hadad Rimmon in the place of Megiddo. End quote. Zechariah 12, verses 9 and 11. The day of the Lord is to be just that, the moment when Jesus Christ achieves uncontested victory over those who have opposed him. Quote, behold, the day of the Lord is coming, and your spoil will be divided in your midst, for I will gather all the nations to battle against Jerusalem. Then the Lord will go forth and fight against these nations. End quote. Zechariah 14, 1-3. Jerusalem, the center of controversy for hundreds of years, will be the point of contention in history's greatest war. Zechariah cries, quote, behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of drunkenness to all the surrounding peoples when they lay siege against Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall happen in that day that I will make Jerusalem a very heavy stone for all peoples. All who would heave it away will surely be cut in pieces, though all nations of the earth are gathered against it. End quote. Zechariah chapter 12, verses 2 and 3. Free from his 1,000 years of bondage, Satan will mount a great campaign to throw the world into utter confusion and despair until the Lord triumphs. Quote, now when the 1,000 years have expired, Satan will be released from his prison and will go out to deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle. They went up on the breadth of the earth and surrounded the camp of the saints and the beloved city, and fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them. End quote. Revelation 20:7-9. Blessed Augustine warned that Satan, quote, shall burst forth from lurking hatred into open persecution. For this persecution, occurring while the final judgment is imminent, shall be the last which shall be endured by the Holy Church throughout the world, the whole city of Christ being assailed by the whole city of the devil, as each exists on earth. End quote. The last battle. The scriptures list a number of ancient nations, each stemming from a descendant of Noah, which are to come against Israel. Various commentators have associated these nations with modern countries or peoples, and some have confidently predicted the players and progression of the world's last climactic battle. As the world's contemporary political landscape changes, however, these prognostications tend to ebb and flow, much like the calculated date of Christ's return. Daniel records the following scene, quote, at the time of the end, the king of the south shall attack him, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind, with chariots, horsemen, and with many ships. And he shall enter the countries, overwhelm them, and pass through. He shall have power over the treasures of gold and silver, and over all the precious things of Egypt. Also the Libyans and Ethiopians shall follow at his heels. But news from the east and the north shall trouble him. Therefore he shall go out with great fury to destroy and annihilate many. Yet he shall come to his end, and no one will help him. End quote. Daniel chapter 11, verses 40-45. Whoever the earthly participants in this ghastly conflict may ultimately be, the real contestants are clearly Christ and Satan. Quote, and I saw the beast, the kings of the earth, and their armies gathered together to make war against him, Christ, who sat on the horse, and against his army. End quote. Revelation chapter 19:19. The Battle of Armageddon will represent the final futile attempt by Satan to deny Christ what belongs to him. Through immersing the world in war and misery, the evil one will exterminate whatever light of hope remains in those souls he has already marked. These are they who refuse to repent, even in the face of God's plagues and punishments. To them is reserved the misery of total defeat. St. John wrote, quote, "Another horse, fiery red, went out, and it was granted to the one who sat on it to take peace from the earth, and that people should kill one another, and there was given to him a great sword." End quote. Revelation 6, verse 4. Everything about this battle is extraordinary. Beyond the human warriors, there will be the working of unseen powers, voices, thunder, and lightning. Quote, "And they gathered them together to the place called in Hebrew Armageddon. Then the seventh angel poured out his bowl into the air, and a loud voice came out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, quote, 'It is done,' end quote. And there were noises and thunderings and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such a mighty and great earthquake as had not occurred since men were on the earth," end quote. Revelation chapter 16, 16-18. The earthquake will be the most powerful and damaging in human history. St. Andrew of Caesarea cites other scriptural references to the heavens being shaken, which indicate a fundamental change in the earth. Quote, "The earthquake signifies a change in the existing world, as the apostle has said, 'Yet once more I shake not the earth only, but also the heaven.' Hebrews chapter 12, verse 2, end quote. Dry rivers. Two passages from the book of Revelation indicate that the Euphrates River will be dried up, and a great army from the east will advance across it. Quote, "Then the sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up, so that the way of the kings from the east might be prepared." End quote. Revelation chapter 16, verse 12. Quote, "And I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar which is before God, saying to the sixth angel who had the trumpet, quote, 'Release the four angels who are bound at the great river Euphrates,' end quote. So the four angels who had been prepared for the hour and day and month and year were released to kill a third of mankind. Now the number of the army of the horsemen was 200 million, end quote. Revelation chapter 9, verses 13-16. Casualties from this fighting will cause immense bloodshed. Quote, "So the angel thrust his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and threw it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trampled outside the city, and blood came out of the winepress up to the horses' bridles, for 1,600 furlongs." End quote. Revelation 14, verses 19 and 20. As Archbishop Averki explained, quote, "The hyperbolic expression used here by the holy seer of mysteries indicates that the defeat of the enemies of God will be so terrible that the blood will flow as if in rivers," end quote. Carnage will be so extreme that bodies will lie rotting and unattended. All that was considered valuable in the world will seem as filth, and people will search everywhere for some place to escape. Saint Ephrem the Syrian cautions, quote, "There will be no place to run away or hide, for everything will be in confusion on sea and land. The stench will hang over both sea and land. Hunger, earthquakes, confusion, and calamities will abound. All will regard as blessed those dead who were buried before such grief came to the earth. Gold and silver will be scattered over the streets, and no one will touch them, for everything has become an abomination." End quote. Christians can be consoled that in this incredible war represents the final event before Christ's return. With its conclusion, all, quote, "wars and rumors of wars," end quote, Mark chapter 13, verse 7, will cease. The prayer which has issued passionately from so many hearts may then forever rest. Quote, "Deliver me from eternal fire, from wicked war, and from hell," end quote. Midnight Song to the Most Holy Mother of God. Archangel Michael fights. Daniel predicts the Archangel Michael will lead Christ's troops to ensure the battle's success. Quote, "At that time Michael shall stand up, the great prince who stands watch over the sons of your people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that time. And at that time your people shall be delivered, every one who is found written in the book." End quote. Daniel 12:1. This is certainly fitting, for the ultimate conflict between good and evil on earth will be a reflection and completion of that primordial scene which occurred in heaven's realm. Quote, "And war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought with the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought, but they did not prevail, nor was a place found for them in heaven any longer. So the great dragon was cast out, that serpent of old, called the devil and Satan, who deceives the whole world." End quote. Revelation 12, verses 7 to 9. As St. John promises, the dragon, quote, "did not prevail," end quote. As he was cast out of heaven to the earth, so will he be cast out of earth and into the lake of fire. His days of deception will at last end. On the other hand, those who have refused the mark of the beast, whose names are written in the book of life, will join in celebration at their Lord's momentous victory.